Welcome back to another episode of the Adventure Athletes podcast. As always, I'm super excited about this podcast. I literally can't help it. Every episode I record, I get super excited about. I absolutely love doing them, and the stories that I get to share with you guys are absolutely phenomenal. And this podcast is no different. So in this week's episode, I've got Nat Utting, who won Wildhorse and has got many other achievements to her name, despite, as she says in her own words, she is just a normal person and she has no idea why anyone wants to hear from her. But I did, and I know a few of you guys were keen for this episode as well, so I'm super excited that I get to share it with you. Now, before we start, I did want to just say that I'm only 2 weeks out now from my 6 and 6 challenge, where I will be running 6 ultramarathons over 6 days to raise money for Sport in Mind, a charity very close to my heart. But I'm going to let a pre-recorded clip of me play to explain a bit more about the challenge. Hi, my name's Will, and I'm going to be running 6 ultramarathons over 6 consecutive days, and I'm doing this to raise money and awareness for Sport in Mind. Now, this challenge is really going to push me to my limits. I'm going to be running over 230 miles with over 8,000 metres of elevation across the 6 days. I've never done anything like this before. It's something that's really helped me with my mental health, not only through physical activity, but it's been the community that it's brought with me. So at the start of 2020, I was made homeless. I slept on a mixture of the streets and my fire service sofas, for a period of about 6 months. Now, when I did finally find somewhere to live, I broke my ankle and I spent the next 6 months not able to put my foot on the floor. And after that, I had to relearn to walk, run, and complete any sort of physical activity again. This was a massive hit to my confidence and my mental health. And unfortunately, it led me to suicidal tendencies and ideation. So I really do believe in what Sport in Mind are doing. The fact that they embody both the things that I believe in, which is sport to improve your mental health and building community and safe spaces for people to not just talk about their mental health, but feel a part of something, know that they're not alone. And that honestly can be one of the biggest factors in improving someone's mental health. Now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get more support and awareness around my challenge. If you'd be able to support in any way possible, please reach out to me. I'd really love to hear from you. Now, this episode with Nat is absolutely amazing. She was great to talk to and a really good insight into what it takes to, I don't want to say win, because like she says, she's not in it to win, but to perform at such a high level in such a diverse sport. Like, there's so many different things that can go wrong when you're running 100, 200 miles plus. So there's a lot to account for. She gives a really good insight into what training looks like, how her mind works when it comes to not just training but to the event themselves, and how she uses running to help with her anxiety. So I think that this episode is very prevalent to what I'm going to be doing and the reason why I'm doing it. Now, just before we get into the episode, here is a quick message from our friends over at Soulmate.
We're Soulmate. Whether you're new to running or an experienced runner, we've got you covered for both road and trail, from shoes to nutrition to running poles and everything in between. Use code ADVENTURE10 both in-store or online for 10% off your order.
And now, enjoy the podcast. What was your call to adventure?
What was my call to adventure? That's a really good question, actually. I would say I probably started off like a lot of people. I used to do road running, typical like half marathons, that kind of thing. And as I think so many trail runners say, you're always chasing like a PB. Well, it feels like it when you're doing like half marathon events or road marathons, that kind of thing. You're always chasing a PB and you always feel like every run has to be better. And actually they can be pretty monotonous. Like, there's only so much fun you can get out of running around the streets, if you ask me. And I'm originally from Kent, sort of borderline southeast London. So that was all I really knew. There are some lovely trails around there, but just not that many. And I moved to Cardiff in December 2020. And that's when I really sort of just started exploring trails more. And as soon as I did, I was just like, this is for me. Like, I'm not interested in road anymore. I think took me a while to work up to it, but I did my first ultra with Pegasus in April 2022. And then that was the final click. Like, once I'd done that, I was like, this is me. I'm not going back. So I suppose that's what started it all. Yeah, and then it kind of escalated a little bit rapidly. Found mountains, and I just like once you found that, like, my point of view, not everybody's, I'm sure, but why on earth would you go back to road? Yes, like, we all have to do it sometimes as part of our training. It's like, you know, you can't always go off on a trail adventure if you need something quick and easy, but it's just offers so much more. It probably sounds like slightly hippie, but I think you're like immersed in what you're doing. You're part of, like, it is so much more of an adventure. You're part of the landscape. Yeah, it just gives me a totally different feeling.
Yeah. So you said it escalated quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to elaborate on that? Not that I think that anyone listening doesn't already know what you've achieved, but just in case.
So yeah, I did my first ever ultra in April 2022, and that was actually, there's me going on about I love trails, and it was the South Cannon, which is probably the most boring trail you can get. Sorry, Reese. But yeah, it was really weird because I sort of went into that and I was like, oh, I've never done this distance before. I just want to try and complete 40 miles. And I'm not saying I didn't try. Of course I tried, but I didn't push from the beginning. I kind of sat back, and I found it really hard. I remember getting towards perhaps the last kind of 6K, and I actually called my mum while I was going along, because my mum used to do ultra running as well. So I guess she's also been part of my influence. But yeah, I called her and I was like, it's really hurting. My quads really hurt. I'm trying to, like, walk them run. And her response was, I used to do training runs that were 40 miles, get on with it. And I was like, bloody hell, mum. Like, tough love. But yeah, although I did find it hard towards the end, as I said, like, I hadn't gone off and I didn't feel like I'd fully pushed myself. And I can't remember the time I did it in. It probably wasn't anything amazing, I'm not sure. But I did come third female, and I was like, wow, okay, this is my first ever ultra. And I don't feel like I've really attacked it. And I've actually done okay. And I was like, wow, that's like a real turn up for the books. And then I suppose that really sort of whet my appetite to be like, right, well, what can I do then if I actually really, like, try, because I really enjoy this. So then I did the Riddim in September 2022. And yeah, I came first female. And then I heard about the Grand Slam. So 2023, I was like, right, that's it. Just sign me up for the Slam. And did, yeah, the 6 Pegasus races in 6 months. I podiumed all of them. I get really embarrassed because, like, I just don't see myself like that. But anyway, I podiumed all of them and did some other runs as well in the same year in 2023. So I think I did OTT in November. I did another one before that as well. I think it might have been a Limitless one. But yeah, I did well in both of those as well. So yeah, I don't know. I think, but it wasn't just, it's never about, of course the result's amazing. It's like the cherry on the cake. But for me, it's like as I've already said, like the whole adventure and the process. And it really makes me feel strong. Like, it's quite an empowering thing. So yeah, as soon as I sort of had that, like, 2023 felt like mad. It felt like a bit of a whole whirlwind, but I was like, wow, I can actually do this. Let's see how far I can test myself. So then I did my first 100 in 2024, in June 2024. It was quite eye-opening. I loved it, but there was loads of things that I think I could do better. if I was to go and do that race again, it was the Epona. But I learned so much and I loved so much about it. And then I decided to go for a second 100 because I wasn't done that year. And I did the Centurion Autumn 100 in October. Very different because it's much flatter. It was quite boggy. But I put a lot of things I'd learned in the Epona to test on that. So whilst it was a completely different kind of route and not the elevation, it was just things to do with how I was managing my tiredness, how I was managing my procedure at checkpoints as well. And yeah, I know obviously it was quite a lot flatter, but I think I took like 5 hours off my time. And I had done like a 50 miler like just 3 weeks before. So I was quite happy with that. Yeah, I can't remember how many races I did in 2024. I think it was another like half a dozen, 5, 6. I think it was about 6. Yeah, and again, saw podium results apart from Autumn 100. I didn't put podium in that. There was some really, really strong female runners, and I think if I'd wanted to try and get anywhere near the podium, I'm not saying I would have, because there was amazing runners like Hannah Rickman who won it. I shouldn't have run a 50 mile 3 weeks before. I think that's another thing with me. I get too overexcited, and sort of I've tried to rein back from that this year because of the fact that I then signed up for Wildhorse. So yeah, in the space of from April 2022 doing my first ultra to 2025, I've now done a 200, which I did in May. Yeah.
And won.
Yeah. Could have gone one of two ways, because it was like the week before my birthday, so I was either going to have a really great birthday or I was going to sit there and sulk.
Then you started a new job on like the Tuesday
I
after
know.
as well.
So I finished on the Friday and I like started a new job on the Tuesday, and I was like, oh my god, I hope I can walk. It's going to be really embarrassing. But yeah, thankfully they knew about the race, because when I was trying to negotiate my start date and they wanted me to start before, and I was like, well, I can, but I'll need to take time out for like annual leave. And they were like, oh, have you got a holiday planned? I was like, it's not quite a holiday. Yeah, I told them what I was doing and they thought it was absolutely bonkers, like most people who don't do ultras think. But yeah. So yeah, it's been 3 years now of ultra running.
3 years, and I can't believe how well you're doing at it. Like, it is phenomenal. And the amount of people that I had message me being like, when's Nat coming on the podcast? And I was like, I'll try, but I can't promise anything. And yeah, they're going to be happy that you're here.
I just find it, I don't know. I always say I'm just normal. People probably think, I don't know what they think, but I am honestly just normal. Yeah. I find it just as hard as probably everyone else. This morning I went for a run and it was hell. Sometimes 10Ks feel bloody hard. Like, I think like we need to put it into reality what we're doing. Just because like I see good results, it doesn't mean that I don't experience the same kind of struggle that other people do. And yeah, I say I love it. We all do, but there's still days that I really don't want to go out and do it, and you have to push yourself. And then I get back and I sit on my sofa and have chocolate, and if it's a Saturday I'll have a G&T. Like, that's what I'm like. I'm just completely like, I just feel I'm normal, so it all feels a bit weird when people are like, oh my god, like it's you. I'm like, is it? Yeah, hi. And go all like shy and awkward. But yeah.
What do you think makes you sort of like stand out in that sense? If you feel like you're just a normal person, which you are, like, why do you think people think so highly of you, and like what makes you get the results that you do?
I'd like to think that people think highly of me because of the fact that I am normal. I don't know. And because I genuinely don't expect it. So I think, like I've said to you, I don't set out to go and win a race or, well, come first female. I set out with my own goals because I don't know who else is going to turn up. I don't know who I'm competing against, and you know, there might be quicker people, that's fine. I just have to set out with my own goal and go for that. So it's not about, I'm not chasing the position, I'm chasing a time as such. But yeah, so I hope that people just sort of see that I'm quite normal and humble. But I think the reason that I have the results that I do is, one, because of the training I put in, but two, because I say this as though it's just unique to me, and it's not. I think it's something that many people in the ultra running community experience, but I've had like various mental health struggles. I'm quite an anxious person, very anxious person. I've had to do various things to like try and control that. And I think when we've had various battles or trauma or whatever it be, some sort of mental issue, for us, ultra running is a way of us taking control. And it's like, for me, I find it really empowering, and it makes me feel strong because it makes me feel capable of being able to overcome any other shit that's been thrown my way, basically. And that's what I think really drives me. There's been various, like, I'm not saying like I've had the most horrendous journey or anything like that. There's people that will have had far worse, I'm sure, but there's been things that I feel have really knocked me back and that I've struggled to deal with in everyday life. But when I get out there, that's my opportunity to prove to myself that I'm in control. And this is what, there might be things that have happened that are out of my control, but right now it's just me and the trail, and I'm in control of that. And that's what really pushes me, I think. And I think a lot of other people, I don't know, but some of the people I've spoken to, if they have experienced like those kind of dark places in their lives, or just general like anxiety or some sort of trauma, for them, again, it's a way of sort of dealing with it. But I think it's that strength we find in it that is what really pushes us, and that's what pushes me.
How do you sort of manage your anxiety? Like, do you just use running for it, but do you get anxiety like on events and things like that?
Yeah, I get so anxious before events, actually. And that's why I get that it comes from a really lovely place, but when I turn up and some people are like, oh, there she is, she's going to be first female, like that really adds to it, because then I feel so much pressure. And that makes me very on edge. I actually did, I think it's called the Black Beacons, one of the run walk crawl races last year. I just did the 50. They've also got 100. And I was literally I turned up and everyone was like, oh, she'll come first female. And within the first mile or two, I was finding it so difficult, like so hard. I don't know why, you just have days where it just doesn't feel great. And I was thinking, shall I just pull out now? Shall I just say it's not my day? And I think that's a lot. I was feeling that pressure because of everyone being like, oh, there you go, like she's going to do really well. And I was like, I don't feel like I am. And suddenly you'll get like, it really put me on edge. But as I got going, I sort of managed to let that like dissolve a bit and focus on what I was doing. So yeah, it does make me more anxious about events. But to answer the question of do I only use running, it's a massive like help for my mental health. But I think, to reference probably one of the things that like Ali Bailey said, it doesn't fix you. Yes, it releases endorphins. Yes, it makes you feel great, because exercise in general does. But it can't fix something else that's going on. So I have had times when I've gone out running and I've actually got like a really tight chest and I'm like really struggling to breathe because it's been like a really anxious period of time. And the running helps that, because it gives me a purpose, gives me something to focus on, something to channel my energy into. But it's not going to fix the root cause. I think that's like perhaps maybe something different. But for me, it is like I rely on it massively. Like I said, being able to channel that sort of anxious energy into something where you can see physical results, that's really empowering. So for that, like, yeah, I'd say I do rely on it in that sense. It's just that if people think it will fix you, fix you, but well, in my point of view. Yeah.
Do you think it maybe helps you do better at the running side of things?
I think it makes me a lot more stubborn. I think it makes me a lot more stubborn, and because I do sort of have that nervous energy, like I said, it gives me something to channel it into. When I've been in like other situations where I've had that, I mean, I used to have quite a stressful job. I've recently changed job, and thankfully I'm finding it a lot better. But I used to find that I'd be completely overwhelmed by anxiety sometimes, like in a meeting or in a workplace, and then I wouldn't be able to talk. As in, I'd try and talk, and I completely lost my voice. Like I'd be like, but yeah, just couldn't function. Whereas if I go out running, it's like I can channel that into something. It gives me an outlet for it. So yeah, I think that does make it, probably does help me to drive results, because it gives, it's basically I can direct all my nervous energy into that almost. Yeah.
Nathan will be glad that you used the word stubborn, because in his podcast that is one word that he used to describe you, and straight away he was like, oh well, not in like a bad way.
To be fair, he could say it's a bad way if he wants. He saw me on, well, for far more than the last 10k, but the last 10k of Wildhorse, I was a stubborn cow. There's no other way to describe it. I was like, God, is he still going to be my friend afterwards? Because I was horrible. But at that point, I was just like, I just need to get this done. And I don't know where I found it from, but I found some energy from somewhere, and I was just like, right, we'll go in. And he was like, you're doing fine, you know, like you don't have to go this fast, because I was worried that there was someone behind me. Not another woman, it was I think it was Rory, and I think he maybe finished, don't quote me on this, I don't know if it was half an hour after me, 20 minutes after me, but because I was so close to the end, I was like, I've held this position, so I don't want him to overtake me now. So that was it. I was just gone. I was off. And I was like, he's not going to beat me. And Nathan was like, it's all right, Nat. He's not near you. It's fine. And I was just like, don't care. I hate sand. I feel sick. I want to get this done. That's literally what I was like. Like having a full-on tantrum, but running at the same time.
I brought this up on Naif's podcast as well. But do you think those sort of qualities, like you're saying, of like stubbornness and things that you'd associate negatively in like day-to-day life, is like a positive when it comes to sport?
I do. And I think sometimes we use the word stubborn because we're just trying to like bring light to the situation and make it humorous, but I actually think it's resilience. Like that's I mean, stubborn is like not budging on anything. And there is an element of that. You're sort of like, well, I'm not going to give up. But like resilience is that push. It's being able to withstand it and keep going. So yeah, I think we joke and we say stubborn, but actually I think a lot of it's resilience more than anything. Yeah.
I find it interesting because Nathan seems to be the exact opposite of you, because he's just like, yeah, I don't think I've got any mental strength or resilience, because he's like, as soon as things go bad, like, yeah, I'm like done mentally. And then he was even saying like, Nat's the opposite, like she's so mentally strong, and this is why she'll be a better runner than me, like always, because she's got that mental side.
I am not a better runner. But yeah, I think like a lot of people know that Nathan and I train together, we support each other on runs, and I do think it's that like whole, we do have different attributes and maybe I am mentally stronger, I don't know, but we seem to bounce off each other well in that sense. Like he can be, for example, on the last bit of the Epona, he was still moving really well. He was fine. He's amazing. Like he was the champ. But he would sort of be getting a bit demoralised and going into like quite a negative headspace. And I'm just like, honestly, look how close you are to the top of Sugarloaf, I know it hurts and I know it feels so far, but look, you are literally, I was like, that'll be done within 5 minutes, even just walking, like, just get it done. And I'm really like, yeah, I don't know, I suppose I just go into like a mental kind of overdrive. Yeah.
It's a really good quality to have though for like these sorts of things, because everything's going to go wrong all the time on these events. It's like so rare that an event like you come away being like, I wouldn't change a thing, like that went
No,
perfectly.
I've never come away from an event like that. There's always something you can change, there's always something you can learn. And there's also like bigger factors at play, like we can't control the weather, you know, if it's really hot, or the opposite, if it's like in the winter and you're really cold. Like there's a lot of things you have to manage, and so nothing's ever going to go perfectly, and you're never going to feel like there's always going to be something where you think, oh, I could have done that better, or it might just be that your body didn't feel as great that day. When I did Wildhorse, the first day was pretty hot and there were quite a few people that struggled with the heat, and I was struggling as well, but I know that in the heat I won't feel hungry, but I have to start eating early on, and I just have to force it in me even if I don't want it. So I was literally taking bites of food, because I'm better with food than gels and stuff, and taking then mouthfuls of water to force it down. And that probably saved me like early on, but yeah, I wasn't feeling amazing. I felt better going into the night, but there's always going to be things that you're up against that are kind of, yeah, are not going to make it ideal conditions, or your body's just not going to be enjoying it. I know my body wasn't enjoying that bit at all. I actually, it's kind of rank, but I don't think I managed to pee until gone 60 miles, maybe 65 miles, and I was getting really worried because I was drinking a lot of water.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this going to be game over? But then thankfully the floodgates opened, it was fine. Then it didn't stop. But yeah, so there's always going to be like things that are testing you and that aren't ideal really. So yeah, I think that's where the stubbornness or resilience comes into play.
What was your biggest learning point from Wildhorse then?
My biggest learning point from Wildhorse, actually, there's a couple of things. I think I'd amped it up so much in my head to be this massive thing, and it is. I'm not trying to downplay it, but I almost was worried that because it would be such a toll on my body that I wouldn't enjoy it. And I did. Like, one of the learnings is that you can actually enjoy like something that obscene. I was like, you know, it's double the distance I've ever gone. Am I actually going to enjoy any of it? I thought it was just going to be, because you know you're going to go to dark places and you know you're going to go to hell and back, but I thought I was just going to be in this permanent hell, and I wasn't. Like, I actually enjoyed so many parts of it. That was a real like learning, because it kind of made me want more, I suppose. It was, yeah. But the other thing for me was how I do think I managed my fueling quite well. I ate really well, even when I did have to force myself early on through the heat. And that's something that went well. I think where I could have been better, though, was the sleep. So altogether, I was either trying or did sleep for, I think it was about an hour 40, an hour and 3/4, but not all of that. Some of that I was just trying and not sleeping. If I tried to sleep in the checkpoints, I'd like even put like jacket over my head, like try and make everything black out, but I was just lying there, I wasn't sleeping. The best sleeps I had were when I just napped on the trail. So admittedly, if it was pissing down with rain, that wouldn't have been such a nice nap, like. But for me, my learning was sort of like, don't be precious about it. Just, if it's not an ideal time to nap, I sort of napped because I knew I was getting tired, and there'd be, you know, I was at a checkpoint to be like, right, try and nap. But it wasn't working for me. What worked for me later on was when I decided to nap on the trail. And I was just away from like hustle and bustle, and just, I knew it would be at a point where I knew I was really tired. I'm like, right, I'm switching off now, I'm getting wobbly, I just need to lie down and sleep. So yeah, I think that was a learning for me, as opposed to trying to force myself to sleep at specific times. That didn't really work for me. So yeah, if I was trying another 200 and wanted to try and improve on my time, that would be one area that I'd look at trying to chip some, take some time back, because I essentially wasted a couple of 20 minutes just lying there. But yeah.
Yeah, like, I can't imagine what it's like trying to sleep during something like that. That is something I just can't get my head around, because everyone I've spoken to about 200s, sleep's been like the biggest thing that they've struggled with.
So for me, that was what I was most, apart from the fact that I thought I was just going to be in permanent hell, that was the thing that I was most worried about, because on the Epona, which is my first 100, I actually handled the sleep deprivation really badly. I got really wobbly at points, and I was like, God, if I was that bad during 100, what am I going to be like on 200? Although I did manage to rectify that a lot in the autumn 100. But yeah, for that reason, I was quite worried about it. But I actually found that once I got into the rhythm of just letting myself actually completely reach exhaustion and then just lying down on the trail, how effective that nap would be. I would genuinely sometimes only have 10 minutes, and I'd get up and I'd be like, let's go. I mean, we've spoken about Nathan, he can vouch for that. There's like he took a picture of me having a nap on the grass at one point. I was fully out of it. Like, I even managed to start dreaming within 10 minutes because I was like twitching and like saying stuff. Got up and I felt completely revived. Like, honestly, it was like the best 10-minute nap I ever had, and then I was off. So I don't know, I think you just have to have a bit of an open mindset with it, and accept that it's going to be a learning curve. If you're going to do your first 200, you're not going to nail it. Well, you might. I'd love to have a lesson from you if you do, but you just gotta be open-minded about it. You've got to learn on the job, essentially. You can try and have a sleep plan, and you should try and have one, but you've just got to be fully willing to improvise and be like, okay, this isn't working for me, let's try plan B, which is what I did, essentially. But yeah, I think it is one of the most daunting things, but yeah, I think just being ready to adapt to it is, rather than being like, oh my God, I've tried to sleep, it's not working, and getting into a panic, just, having like a plan B.
Did you do any sort of like training for the sleep deprivation?
I actually didn't, despite being worried about it. I know people that did. I didn't. I just was like, what will be. I'm just going to go try and do 20-minute naps at checkpoints and things. And obviously I was finding that not working when I was sort of like, right, at this checkpoint I'll nap, at this checkpoint I'll nap. That was a bit too dictated for my body, obviously. But I didn't do any training. I just went and gave it a go. And yeah.
So what did your training look like for the 200 miler then?
I probably was averaging around about 80-mile weeks, but I did do 100-mile week. I'm not saying that's right for everyone. It's very high mileage. For me, I just wanted to get used to doing back-to-back long runs. So the vast majority of that mileage throughout the week was done on a Saturday and Sunday. It would be going out and doing back-to-back marathons, or like a marathon one day and 20 miles the next. Because for me, I just wanted to be used to sort of having tired, painful legs and being able to push through it. But at the same time, I did actually have to be really careful, because I struggle with Achilles tendonitis. I'm an overpronator, so that's probably why. And it was probably only a couple of months before the race, and I was really struggling bad with it, because obviously of the load of doing that sort of mileage. So I started seeing a physio, and she gave me various strengthening activities to do. Can't stress how important strength is. And that really helped. But she also said, like, to allow it to calm down, you are going to have to rein it back for a bit. So I was also using the indoor bike. I cut back my running for a little bit, so I don't know, maybe 60-mile weeks, but doing the bike as well. But doing hill climbs on the bike is still great training. Like, it's really good for you. So if you're sort of struggling with the impact of doing such high mileage weeks, I would definitely recommend doing some of that instead and varying it. And then she also suggested, the physio, that I have when I got back to increasing my mileage, still having 2 non-running days a week. So I was sort of like, Christ, how am I going to do 80 miles but not run on 2 of the days? Like, normally I would have had 1 running rest day. So that almost made me up my back-to-back long runs again, or sort of bring in like a 3rd long run day. Yeah, and I'm not saying that's what everyone should do. For me, like, the really different things work for different people, and there might be people listening that are coaches and things and be like, why on earth was you doing that much? Or there's people I know that do more, and that's that's quite a big thing, actually. A lot of people have noticed that I don't use Strava, and it frustrates them. And there's a reason I don't use Strava. I used to, and I used to compare myself to everybody else. Look at what they were doing, look at their pace, and it took the joy away from running. Like, you can't compare. There's different things that are right for different people, and ultimately, yes, if you're looking to do a 200, really you should get used to doing some back-to-back long runs. It doesn't mean you need to be doing 80 miles a week, or you might want to do more. There's things that suit people's bodies differently. And I used to get into quite a negative headspace when I used Strava, so that was the only reason I don't use it. I still use my Garmin and record my own running, but it's not because I'm trying to hide anything. It's actually because it's a bad place for me to spend my time. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm fully in the depths of Strava.
Yeah.
I'm like obsessed, like all the segment leaderboards, like everything. I'm like, yeah, I'm all over it. And it's not good sometimes.
I mean, it is like, it's good if people can be healthy about it. I put myself down. I'd be like, right, I should be doing more, I should be faster, I should be this, I should be that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to it, definitely. Yeah. Same with anything, like same with all social media. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You can't just compare and go down that route. Yeah. Or you can use it as like inspiration or just like a bit of entertainment.
It is good because you can also, like you say, get inspiration from it and see different like training techniques that people are using, and that is actually helpful. So yeah.
So was you doing any strength stuff before the physio or no?
I was, but not necessarily the right stuff and not enough of it. This is one of the things that I found tricky. I used to do a lot more strength, loads more, and then up in my running mileage, that obviously takes up your time. So I sacrificed not all of the strength, but I wasn't doing anywhere near as much as I was before, because I was like, well, I'm spending all my time like up in my running mileage. But that's why, again, there's a balance to get, and if you can't dedicate quite that much time to running, you need to make sure you're still dedicating time to the strength. But yeah, I just found out really specific kind of strength work that I could be doing to strengthen the whole of the back of my legs and calves, hamstrings, glutes, to then take the stress off my Achilles. And it wasn't all, obviously you've got your things like your squats and your deadlifts and your single leg squats and deadlifts, which I knew, but there was actually some things that I just wouldn't have considered. So sort of like raised, I'm like in a bridge pose, but then I'm like raising my heel up and down. So very specific kind of things that then like you actually feel the pull going up your calf, and going onto my tiptoes, but for holding kettlebells and things like that. So yeah, quite more targeted. So that's why I found it helpful, because before I'd just be, I suppose, your more widely known and practiced kind of stuff. Yeah.
Even that more widely known stuff is still not done enough.
No, it's not. It's really not. And I hold my hands up. Since doing Wildhorse, I've like fallen off the wagon. And today I actually said to myself, right, tomorrow you're doing a strength session. Yeah, and I'm like going to plan in like my strength days again, because you sort of, well, not everyone, but I was like, right, I've done Wildhorse, I'm having a bit of a rest. Then I started to get back into like running or whatever, but I've not built in as much of the strength again. And then it's, yeah, I really suffer when I don't do it. Really suffer. So important.
I think I have the opposite issue to all the runners, where I would rather be in the gym. And I'm just like, yeah, like if I can, I would try and like religiously hit 3 times a week in the gym.
Yeah.
And then I'll like, it's been different this time building up for my 6, but like every other event I've sort of like started taking my running out and putting more gym in.
Yeah. I'm better at like doing strength and gym work in the winter. In the summer, I'm just like, no, I want to get outside.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Not that I'm saying I want winter, but yeah.
You just need to like periodize it properly. So just have phases where it's like in and out of the running and the gym stuff, I find. But I definitely go like the day after. I've got like a thing. The day after a big run, I'm like, right, in the gym. That's my thing. Like the day after, no matter what it is, I'm like, I got to be in the gym the next day.
And your legs are screaming at you.
Yeah. Oh, it's never a nice session, but I just feel the need to be back in the gym. So like after big events, I tend to usually I take out running completely, and then I'm just like, I'm in the gym every day. That's
a really good way to go about like coming back from a long run though, like a big event or something. Yeah. I sort of learnt the hard way, I suppose, when I was up in my running mileage. So yeah,
it is important, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a coach, but it is. I'm quite thankful that I've come from a strength background and gone into running.
Yeah.
So I've already got the foundational strength and like years of different sports and everything.
Yeah, I think I sometimes think it is kind of harder for people that have just run and not focused on strength so much, that don't have that background, because then if they get the bug and start wanting to do events and ultras, they have to then start that from scratch and build it in.
I always find it funny when I started doing trail running and I started running with people, and then it was going downhill, and just naturally I was like good downhill, and I was like sprinting downhill, and everyone's like, how are you so good downhill? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And then I thought about it, and I was like, I've done like 15 years of free running.
Yeah.
Like just bouncing about off rocks and stuff is just like natural.
Yeah.
But like then I see other people going downhill and they've got their poles, they're like turning sideways and walking, and I'm like, just go fast. Like it's way easier.
I'm like somewhere in between that, because I've like had a couple of falls going downhill. I am like cautious, but yeah, I'll sort of be the one whose like limbs are flailing around like, ah.
That's what you need though. Like I don't look pretty running downhill, but like it's efficient.
Yeah.
I get down quickly. But yeah, you need to have the knowledge that your body can handle that as well.
Yeah.
Like if you haven't done the strength training and you haven't done any single leg work or plyometrics as well, it's like massive.
Yeah.
If you don't know you can take that impact, then you're going to be scared going downhill.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the things for me that like when my Achilles flared up quite badly when I was training for Wildhorse, I was sort of like, remember what the end goal is here. Because you almost get into this mindset of, right, I've got to be hitting this weekly mileage. You've got your sort of plan of your back-to-back long runs and that. It's like, okay, but now I run the risk of actually breaking myself in the process before I even get to the race. Like, let's actually remember what the goal is here.
Yeah.
So I think, like lots of things can be, even when you don't want to go out and do it, running is still addictive. But I think you actually sometimes need to take a step back and be like, right, this is actually what I'm aiming for. If I keep doing this, I'm not going to get there because I'm just going to break myself.
Yeah.
It's the same reason that rest is important. But yeah.
That's another thing everyone struggles with as well, isn't it?
Massively. And I've actually had a big learning curve from that after Wildhorse as well. Because obviously I've never done a 200 before. It was like 3 days later and I was like off out running and thought I was, that would be normal. That was fine. And yeah, my body was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
The run felt fine, but afterwards, well, I say it felt fine, obviously felt a bit stiff, but afterwards, like, again, like I'd feel the same sort of, my Achilles would start flaring up. I'm like, well, I've only done like couple of runs back, but it's because it was too much for my body too soon.
Yeah.
And then I sort of realised that and was like, all right, now chill out. Just go and sit back on the sofa with a pizza. Yeah.
How are you recovering from Wildhorse?
I feel a lot better now. Yeah, I think
Now that you've rested.
now that I've rested. Yeah, like I said, I think I tried to do too much too soon, and quickly realised that. But now I feel like, yeah, I mean, I'm not back to like an 80-mile week. But I'm back to like, yeah, I'll go out and do a marathon or a 20-mile run or something like that. So yeah, I say I'm pretty good now. I wouldn't say I'm like peak performance, but yeah, I mean, it has been, how long has it been now? It's been over a month. It's like 6 weeks, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I'd say just about now I'm starting to feel like I can push longer again, but I've not done big back-to-back weekends. So yeah.
So you're not planning on winning any ultras anytime soon?
I'm doing the Sirona.
Okay. How long is that?
That's August 23rd. It's 100 miles.
Okay.
And I want to plan in some more. But not necessarily like hundreds. I just wanted to get through Wildhorse and see what I'd be like. I'd had no idea how long it would take me to recover, so I didn't want to rush and get excited like I have done the previous years, because although those events still very much would have taken a toll on my body, they were shorter. They weren't 200 miles. So I just wanted to be a bit sensible, rather than like fill up my race calendar, and just see like what my recovery was going to be like. So yeah, now I want to have maybe some shorter ones in there as well, like 50 miles or something. Yeah, just because I'm like, I'm starting to feel good again now.
Yeah. I find it hilarious how it's like, now you're like, I want to get some shorter ultras in, like 50 miles. And it's like, that's still so far.
It is still so far.
In my head, like... And
they still, like, sometimes they're evil, because you feel, I don't know, you can be lulled into a false mindset sometimes. You're like, well, I've done 100 or I've done 200, so therefore not that should feel easy, but I should be able to go and manage it. But like I mentioned earlier, sometimes you could go out and do a 10k and it feels like the worst thing in the world. It doesn't make them easier. They don't actually get easier just because you've managed to go further.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, if I'm I'd probably be going a little bit quicker, because obviously it's a shorter distance and that makes it harder.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit of a catch 22.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just find it funny now, because like when I'm hanging around with people, and I know so many people that have done 100s and 200s and everything now, and then when I think about it, I'm like, I've only ever run 50 miles once in my life. And I'm like, now like 200 plus miles seems normal in my life, and I'm like, I haven't even run that far. Why is it normal? Why is that acceptable?
It's mad when you talk to people like that aren't in the ultra community as well, because like some of my like school friends that I'm still like really close with, one of them was just like, I can't understand. First of all, I can't really comprehend it. It sounds mad, but I still can't comprehend it. But then she was like, why would you put your body through that physical toll? And it's like, that's a very good question. But I suppose it comes back around to that whole thing of like the actual strength and empowerment I get out of it. But yeah, people are just like, you are bonkers, which I think is another thing. I don't think any ultra runner's normal, but do we want to be normal? I don't want to be normal. I mean, what is normal? No one's normal, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's part of the thrill of it, that it is hard and it is bonkers. And it is an adventure. That's why I can't go back to sort of road running or half marathons, or everyone's like, you should do the London Marathon. I'm like, I can't think of anything worse now. I actually can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing the Cardiff half again this year, and I don't want to go anymore.
I don't want to
go. I signed up because like a load of my clients were signing up, and I was like, yeah, I'll come and support you, and I'll be there running with you guys. And I'm just like, why did I say I would do that?
I'll come and cheer you on and then be like, what are you doing?
Just see you in the crowd with a sign like, go home, Will. Yeah, no, I'm not looking forward to that. But then there's another side of me, the very competitive side of me, that's like, you want a PB, don't you, Will?
Well, that's the thing as well. As much as like I say, oh, I can like I don't want to go back to that kind of running. It is actually really good for like speed training.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's sort of you're in training for ultras and stuff, your pace will naturally like drop off and slow up. So it is actually probably really healthy to go and do things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're interested in still being able to move at pace. Yeah. I sort of that was something again that I've had to try and manage because I don't have a running coach and I'm not the strictest on myself. Although I go out and I'm like, right, I need to do back-to-back long runs, or yeah, I'm aiming for this sort of. I build up to a high mileage week because I'm training for 100, 200. I don't build in things like, right, this day is going to be hill reps, this day is going to be interval training, this day is going to be speed work. And quite a lot of the time I do what we refer to as easy running. But then if I do think, oh, I've not actually tried to push my pace for a while, I go and do it and it's like, God, I've forgotten how to like actually run quick. Like I can only like go at a 30-mile pace because that's what I've been training myself to do. You sort of, yeah, I think the variation is actually good for you. Otherwise you just get into a bit of a, you just end up in, I suppose, a repetitive kind of cycle and you forget how to push yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think I've been thinking this for a little while, it seems like the next progression for ultra runners is keeping that speed work in to build the speed over the longer distances. And it might just be like the ultra runners that I know where none of them really do it, and there's just like you're just like, I just go out and run and I just enjoy running. And obviously Nathan's the same, and like a lot of the people I know are the same, and they're just like, I just want to get out and run. And I think it's really good for like the mental health side of things. But if you're trying to push your speed and the numbers and like positionings in races and stuff more, then it's like, well, you need the speed work, because if you can't move fast, how are you going to move fast over a long distance?
Exactly that. And I think it doesn't need to be loads, like you don't necessarily need to be doing like 2 days of speed work or anything that amount, but to just do some of it sometimes. And that's where your like shorter runs are still really important as well. If I am going to try and push myself, it would be over a 10k. Like I won't go out and be like, right, I'm going to try and run 20 miles as fast as I can. But again, like talking about Nathan and the fact that we train together, I never used to train with anybody. Like running for me was very much a solo thing, apart from obviously the community you then discover at events is like incredible. But I was sort of quite apprehensive at first about like running with somebody else, because I tried in the past, and you've got your own individual pace, and but I think that's one of the things that why Nathan and I sort of like we found training together really helpful, because we are a similar pace, and that means that you're not sacrificing. Like it's cool to go out with like run with like other people that are slower sometimes. That's cool. Like it's not all about pushing, but I think I can't. Like my partner, for example, I don't run with him very often. He's like my biggest supporter, Zach. He's like amazing. Everyone sees him at the events, but we don't run together very often, and that's because we're completely different paces. And so I can't. You're not pushing yourself. Whereas if you're running with like Nathan and I are very similar pace, so we can keep kind of, even if it is like we're not set out to go all guns blazing, you're still sort of pushing. I'm still like, oh, I've got to keep up with him, and vice versa. He's got to keep up with me. So I think that's why it works. But yeah, I do think that's kind of a large part of it as well, like making sure you're still able to up the ante in a way.
Yeah. You got to be able to push each other.
Yeah.
You can't just run with people not all the time anyway. Like, obviously you're saying like it's nice to go for social runs.
Yeah,
But-
yeah. I'm not saying never ever do that by any means. Like we do this because we're ultimately supposed to enjoy it. Like it's our hobby.
Yeah.
Is what we get. It's our passion. So yeah, not for 1 minute suggesting that. I just think like
You got to feel like you're
you've
doing
still
something.
got to have something in there that makes you accountable. I think like if you want to progress with your pace and if you want to be able to push goal times for yourself, then you need to just make sure you are filtering that in, accommodating for that in your training somehow. Yeah.
And I think it's great what you and Nathan have been doing together, because it's not only like you found that person, like you said, where you go out and you're running similar paces, but it keeps you that bit more accountable as well, because it's like, like they're expecting me to turn up and they might be thinking the same. And I find this hilarious. There's two people that don't want to go out running and they think the other person really does, so they both go out running.
Yeah.
And then in their head they're like, I'm only here because they're here, and they're thinking the same.
100%. They're like because Nathan and I normally run on a Saturday when we go out for like long runs. Like the amount of times we've each like met up and been like, I was really hoping you were going to message to cancel. I really just don't feel like doing this today. Like we both will, but we never say it when we're messaging like, yeah, see you there in the morning. Like, and then we both turn up and it's like, why didn't you cancel? But yeah, that is that whole accountability thing. Because it is all too easy sometimes when you're on your own to just be like, oh, I can't be asked for this today.
Yeah. I think it works the same with the pacing as well, of like, you know that you can both run a certain pace, so if one person starts like dropping back, they're like, oh, now I need to like catch up.
Yeah.
But the other person might be being like, I might slow down in a sec.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly that. So, but no, I don't know. I think I think just the ultra running community in general is pretty special, as we all say. I used to be I still am introverted, but I would just turn up to events and be like, oh, I'm not going to look at anyone or talk to anyone. And it's just like go about things. And now like everyone supports one another. It's like the most amazing thing to like turn up and you're like, I don't even know this person and they're rooting for me. It's like you don't get that in other well, you might do. Obviously we're a bit blindsided, but yeah, for me that's been really special. Even like coming and talking on a podcast, I would never in my wildest dreams have entertained doing something like that before. And then I was like, hang on, lots of people do it because we've got a shared passion and we're all so supportive of one another.
Yeah.
And I think, that's pretty special.
Do you think there's something specific to South Wales ultra running or ultra running in general?
A bit of both. Because just from like social media, you'll see like plenty of people outside of the South Wales ultra running community, just in the community in general, and they are all super supportive of one another. And actually, I mentioned my mum before. She used to do ultras. She did all of the Centurion 100-mile events, and she used to talk. That's when I was still into like road running. She used to talk about the community. And I used to think, oh, she's just batshit crazy. She'd go like, it's such a special thing. And then I would go along to some of her events to support her. And even I picked up on it then. Like, I could see the friendships she was making and the people she was running with would want to like engage with me. And I was like, wow, this is actually like quite a unique, powerful thing. So I do think it exists outside of South Wales. But I'm going to be biased and say I think it's even stronger amongst people in South Wales. I don't know, but that's the real vibe I get. Like, I've never felt so welcome. Like, anyone's welcome, and anyone will be supported. And it's not that I'm saying the ultra running community elsewhere wouldn't be like that, but ultimately, sport is competitive, and I'm competitive, and that's fine. Like, that's really healthy. But I think what makes the South Wales ultra running community special is that we all want each other to be able to achieve achieve their goal, whether it's completing a 30-mile race, whether it's completing 100, whether it is like breaking a course record. It doesn't matter. Like, you can be at the back, you can be at the front. We all just support each other and want each other to do well. Like, when I was dot watching the Epona, yes, obviously, like, I want to see Nathan do well, and I'm going out there to pace him for part of it. But there were so many other people that I was dot watching. I wasn't like, you're towards the back. I was just rooting for them to finish. Like, and that I think that's what we're all like with one another. And yeah, I think that's what makes it really special.
Yeah. What I've sort of noticed, but again, I'm biased because I live here. It just seems to me like within ultra running as a whole, there's all these like micro communities. So like you mentioned, like Centurion, they've got like a really good base around them. You've obviously got like Pegasus, you've got Limitless. But what I notice in South Wales is you've got the micro communities, but they're creating such strong bonds with each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it stand out to me. It's
Yeah.
just like, it's not just like, oh, you do Pegasus and like you only do Pegasus, so like that's your community and you can't go and do a Limitless one. It's like, no, you do that, and then you go to like the running punks, and then you've got like these other communities, and you just like, yeah.
And then you almost bring those communities into like how running punks, like there's been loads that have like that did the Pig'em on Saturday. Like, then you like you bring your community into like another community, or even sort of how I mean, I think what Reese is doing with like Pegasus is really lovely, how he is trying to then purposely trying to bring those communities in by giving them the chance to like race direct or things like that, or making a big deal of like some of the communities that are volunteering. So the She Runs Cardiff girls and the You Explore and things like that. He's like welcoming the other communities in. It's not like, no, this is us, like you're Pegasus and that's that. It's but yeah, it's, I think we all want that and we all embrace that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it is an amazing thing to be a part of. I think.
It's like a real sense of belonging, which I know sounds a bit wishy-washy, but I don't know, from like, that used to be a huge thing for me, like not really feeling like I had a huge sense of belonging, not, struggling with my identity or my purpose. And then that is like, yeah, I've got that in abundance now. It's like, well, this is my thing and these are all my people. And I like, that's such a lovely feeling. It does help with the nerves when you turn up to a race, although I'd still crap myself. Yeah. And I'm really thankful for that. I think I said at the end of Wildhorse, I thanked Reese and Keris because if I hadn't have turned up to my first ever ultra in April 22 and didn't get that warm welcoming, I mean, he didn't know me from Adam at that point, but he really like celebrated my achievement and that I'd come third female in that race, and all of the volunteers were all like really welcoming. And I was suddenly, if I'd have sort of just turned up, rocked up, done it and not experienced that, who knows if the pull to come back would have been quite as strong as it was. I think it really sort of opened the door to ultras in specific, and not just running.
Yeah, no, Reese he's just got this passion about him. Like, you can tell that he loves what he does.
Yeah.
And then that brings similar people towards him, like the volunteers. Like, yeah, I've volunteered at a few events now, and it's just like watching all the other volunteers and the energy they keep up for so long.
I know, it's like they're sleep deprived as well when it's like these like the mega long races, and it's like, how are you still like being so amazing and not like being grumpy when I'm like, oh, I don't know what I want, or I think my foot's got another blister. It's pretty magical. I actually it's not been released yet. I don't know if they might decide that what I said was rubbish, so maybe they won't release it. But I did another podcast, and it's like an American podcast, and they were really interested in finding out about Wildhorse because they know a woman that intends to do it next year. And obviously being over in America, they don't know so much about the race organisation, and they were asking me questions about like how well it's run, what to expect at checkpoints, and I was literally like, you do not need to worry. If you're coming overseas, you have nothing to worry about. The volunteers, the checkpoints, just everything is spot on. You will want for nothing, and you will be like so well looked after. And I think, again, that's another reason why I signed up to Wildhorse as my first 200. Yes, obviously it's a South Wales community and I'm a part of that and I know it, but I knew I would be safe. I knew that with my heart of hearts, like, okay, this race could be hellish, but I will be safe.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately that's like so important, because we are doing kind of mad bonkers stuff. Yeah.
Would you ever consider doing like a big event that's not a race? So sort of like an FKT or like a challenge like I tend to go down. Have you thought about any of that?
I hadn't, until, like, obviously there's quite a lot of hype around FKTs at the moment. And I do actually, that's something that appeals to me. I haven't planned anything or got anything in mind, but I would certainly do that. Like, as I said, when I go into races, if I do really well and I podium, that's amazing. That's the cherry on the cake. But I can't go out with that goal in mind. I have my own goal of, I'm aiming for this time. So something like an FKT is that exact same thing. You know, it's still me having my own personal goal. And yeah, so I think I'd be quite keen to do something like that.
Yeah. What about Backyard Ultra as well? Because
I've never done one of these, and I'm quite intrigued. I am quite intrigued. I got asked to do be part of the, oh God, what's the one coming up in Scotland? To be...
Yeah,
is it the Highlander?
The Highlander,
yeah. To represent South Wales in that. And unfortunately, I can't do it. But I was like, if I could have, I would have gone and done it. I am quite intrigued. It's just not my usual.
Yeah.
My usual is just like go out, hammer it, see what happens. And obviously it's a bit more strategic and a bit more reined in than that, in the sense that you've just got to obviously maintain that pace for your loops. Well, not, you've got time to play with depending on how you just choose to use it. And it's the long game, it's the endurance game. So yeah, I'm intrigued. I don't know how quick I'll hurry to one. But there was the one in Penarth earlier this year as well. And seeing Sarah Perry, obviously she's like amazing, win that, but also everyone else sort of doing it. I was like, this does actually look kind of cool. It looks interesting, and it'll be something to, something different to challenge myself. Yeah. So I'm open to explore basically, but an FKT, have none planned, but could be interested. I welcome suggestions.
So if you're listening and you've got some FKT suggestions, and I know Joe will have some, so yeah, send them over to Nat.
Oh God, what have I let myself in for?
Oh, Joe is like, she's got like a whole list of FKTs at the moment, and she's like, oh, this one doesn't have any women times, so like if you do it you get it. And it's just like, yeah, she's all
I'm
over
all
that,
for
so.
women crushing it. Like, yeah, I think that's another thing. It's not there are so many women that are doing ultra running, but we are still the minority. Wildhorse, actually, there was very male heavy compared, and I suppose that might be to do with the distance and it seeming quite scary. But when I say I'm a normal person, that's what I hope comes across, in the sense that we can do it. Any woman can do it, and it's not just okay. You have to have seen podium results to be able to go and do it. That, just forget all of that. Put that aside. It's just about your resilience and stubbornness, and your passion. And if you've got those things and you train for it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's really, I'm all for like trying to set female records. But yeah. we'll see if I can set a FKT maybe.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing which one you pick. What's next for you then? Like, I know you said Sirona.
So I've got Sirona. I want to try and book in some shorter things. I think, I don't know. I keep going back and forth because I'm like, I could like dot some shorter ones either side of that, or do I just book in another 100 before the year's up? But I do need to be careful because I can get overexcited and ask a lot of myself. And like I said, when I did Autumn 100, although I did a really good time and I was able to put in learnings from the Epona, I had just done a 50 and a bloody brutal 50. It was the Black Beacon one of 3 weeks before, and really that was a bit stupid. So I have come to learn that. So yeah, I need to, I don't know if I'm just getting overexcited by being like, oh, maybe I could fit in another 100 before the year's up. I don't know. Yeah, I could be influenced. That's probably a bad thing. But yeah, I need to make my mind up. But I'm excited for the Sirona, because I do train along, not that section of the coast path, obviously along the South Wales coast path, but rather than west. But a lot of, I tend to do more mountainous stuff these days, so it would be nice to have a change of terrain and landscape, I suppose. But I think what I will find challenging about that is it will be a lot more like undulating. So I think it's around 15,000 feet of elevation. Epona was 17,000, so it's a bit less. But I think with Epona, you've obviously got your steep vert, and then you come in down, and your flats in between. I think this will be a lot more kind of rolling, which I think will be a bit of a challenge for me.
Yeah,
because I do less of that. So,
do you tend to recce these races before you go?
I recceed quite a lot of the Epona before I did it, and I recceed some of Wildhorse, just the first couple of sections. I don't think I'm going to be recceing any of this just because it's a bit further out for me.
Yeah.
Which will be interesting because I'm pretty notorious at getting lost on runs as well. I actually, in fairness to me, when I did the Epona, I did it in the opposite direction. They changed the direction for this year, but I still managed to take Nathan the wrong way when I was pacing him. I was like, oh shit, I'm so sorry. Yeah, and at the end, Reese was like, you've done this race now. How did you manage to get the course wrong? We realised really quickly it's not like I took him off for miles or anything. But yeah.
A few people did.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting having not recceed any of it. I know it should be simple because it's a coast path and you follow the signs and you look for the water. But I've still managed to go wrong even when following coast paths before. So
it's kind of like the canal races where it's like, as long as the canal's on your right, you're okay.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, no, I'm excited for the sea instead of the mountains, although I'm still a mountain goer at heart.
Yeah.
Just like it to be as hard as it can be. I'm like, yeah, like a wet Blorange is my absolute, like, I love it, but I detest it. And the amount of times I go over that, like when I'm training and I'm just like effing and blinding, and then sort of get to the top and I'm like, oh, that was great.
I did Blorange for the first time yesterday. Amazing. Love it up there.
What direction did you do it? The same direction as Epona had done it this year, or from like the steep side?
I couldn't tell you. It was the Pigham route. I was sweeping. Steep bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the way I train over it. And then when I paced Nathan for the section of the Epona, you come over it the other way.
Okay.
And I was like, I mean, I'm sure it didn't feel like this to him because he had God knows how many miles in his legs. But I was like, oh, it's actually like so much better doing it from this direction. It's not as like hard. I'm sure what you do earlier on in the race is very hard because it all evens out. It's still the same elevation. But I was like, oh, maybe I'll train over it this way because it feels easier. And then I was like, no, that's a bad idea. You're going to keep doing it in the most difficult way you know.
Yeah. It's got to be done.
Yeah, but it is vile, and it feels like you're in like a rainforest through the first little bit. It's really humid.
Yeah.
So I'm always like dripping, like trying to wipe the sweat out of my eyes, and I'm just like, do I really enjoy this? And then I'm like, yeah, it's great.
See, I'm really glad you said that, because like starting off sweeping and I get to that section and out of nowhere I just felt really unfit and I was just dripping.
It's a bugger, and it's horrible. I say it every time I do it, and I literally do it quite often.
That's made me feel a lot better about myself now, so thank you for that.
Like, I genuinely, like, I say this, like, I don't think training ever gets easier. You might get a bit more accustomed to the pain, and to the longer days, or the being out there, or the time on feet. You become more experienced in that, but it doesn't mean it gets easier. It's still bloody hard. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I can attest to that. So if you did pick another 100, then do you have one in mind? Because I feel like you do.
I do, and it's actually coming back round to the whole female thing. But the Run Walk Crawl, do the Black Beacon one. So I mentioned that I did the 50-mile version of it last year. And I don't know why I'm considering it, because the 50-mile was genuinely absolutely horrendous. And the 100 is an out and back. So essentially you're doing that twice. You, go out for 50 and come back. And the elevation, I'm not sure what it is, but it is absolutely vile. It's disgusting. But the reason it appeals to me is that I've not seen a woman on the start line. And I just want to be like, that could be changing this year. I don't know who's registered for this year. There could be females, and I really hope there are. But I'm just, because it's seen to be like this beast, which it is, I don't want that to put women off. Like, we can do bloody hard stuff. In fact, we're typically more stubborn than men. So yeah, that's the reason it appeals to me. But by the same token, that's also what puts me off, because like, I want other women around me. I don't want to go out and be like, oh, well, yeah, I came first female because I was the only bloody female doing it. Like, it's healthy to have like competition, and I don't want it to be seen as me going out to just get a good result because I'm the only bloody woman doing it. That's also what puts me off. But it's grueling, and that's quite attractive. I've also considered Winter Downs 100, which is a Centurion race, but the amount of darkness is what puts me off that. I like running in the dark. I actually find it you get into like this, your own little bubble, and it feels quite invigorating. But in December, when you're basically in darkness for most of the time, I think that would really start to take its toll. But then we do these things to challenge ourselves. So I
was going to say, that's real mental resilience training there, isn't it?
Exactly. So I'm not ruling out. It's just like, how mad do you have to be to do 100 miles in December? I don't know. Nathan's done it, so it's kind of so they're the two I'm considering, but we'll see.
Exciting.
You'll probably see me sign up for something entirely different. I'll be like, I can't explain myself, I don't know.
Well, I look forward to whatever you sign up for, so it's awesome following along, and just because you don't post about stuff much.
No, and that's not a chosen thing. I think I am just typically a bit more reserved, like, and it sounds stupid, but I'm always like, why would people be interested in knowing what I'm doing, or like what, like, everyone's out there training. And I feel like when people share stuff, it's normally they've got some sort of insight into their training, or it might just be pictures of a lovely route or something like that. But I just don't really, I don't know, I'm just like, oh, I went out for a run today, it was good, today it sucked, like, so I tend to wait and just like share something when I feel like I've really got something on my chest. It's not because it's more just that, and I just feel like I don't have anything to add to the space. But it's not a sort of specific, I'm trying to like hide myself away.
But I think that's what makes it so interesting, is because like like I do it. I do like a weekly training post, and I'll like post when I've done events and stuff, and I'll share like my clients when they've done events, and then you'll do an event and just put up like a story that goes within 24 hours, and it's like, yeah, I did kind of well at this, and it's like, you won. It's just like, and then it's gone, and it's like, that's all the records that other people have. Obviously you've got a record, you've got like trophies and medals and whatnot.
I also find it like, I'm not just saying this, I find it quite, I don't like to promote myself. So of course I'll celebrate if I get a good result, but I feel like if I've done a post about it, like that's enough. I feel like I'm gonna look like I'm gloating if I keep being like, oh, and this happened and this happened, and yeah, and they'll be like, oh, there she goes again. That's what I feel like. I'm sure people wouldn't be like that, but that's just the kind of person I am. I'm quite like, that's the sense of me that is more reserved. I don't ever think about that when I look at other people's, like, you know, I enjoy reading like their whole like race recap or whatever. I'm like, this is really cool. But sometimes because, you know, if I have come first female, that actually makes me feel like I should say less, because I don't want to seem like I'm gloating, or not that I would constantly be like, oh, did you know I came first female? It wouldn't be that, but like
just walking around with your trophy everywhere, like, look how good I am.
It's like, yeah, I have there's some other photos that have come out. I think I did put them on my story, but I haven't like posted them on my like feed as such, that Matt shared from the finish line of Wildhorse, and I might end up posting those because they include my dog as well, and I'm dog obsessed in case you haven't realised. But yeah, I was sort of like, oh, I've already done a post though. I don't want to be like, oh, here's more finish line photos of me. But that's just me. I'm sure like nobody else would actually look at it and think that. But yeah.
I completely get it, and people always find it weird when I tell them this, is I hate posting all the things I do.
But you have to because you're a coach.
Yeah, and this is what I tell them, is that like, I'm like, this is my job to be post. Like, I hate the fact that I've got 3 accounts on Instagram. I hate the fact that I post every single day.
Do you ever confuse them? I'd end up posting the wrong thing on the wrong account.
I've done it like accidentally, but it was just because I was like logged into the wrong one, and I just start posting, and I'm like, oh shit, I'll have to delete that and do it again on the other one. But it's so much work, and I just hate talking about it in general. And everyone's like, well, you run a podcast, like all you do is talk, and I'm like, I know that, but I don't like doing it.
No.
But I feel like I have to. Like, the podcast specifically is to talk about others.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really share much about myself on the podcast, which people...
Maybe we should do a podcast where we all interview you. That'd be great.
Everyone keeps saying that, and I'm just like, no. I've done a couple of other podcasts, and I hate being the other side of it. I like this side of it. I'm comfortable with it.
The first time... so I've also been on the She Charles podcast, but it hasn't come out yet. And that was my first ever podcast, and I was so nervous beforehand. I was like, oh my god, what do I do? Like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I was like really, really nervous. And then like as soon as I started talking, and like Julia's lovely as well. Obviously most of the people make it really easy, like yourself. But yeah, I was genuinely like, oh, it's weird. Like people just wanting to know about you. You're like, why do you want to know about me?
Yeah. Yeah. But you just, when you get to this sort of space, it's like, oh, I have to talk. And like with my challenges, I'm like, oh, I'm fundraising. I have to shout about them constantly. But then I'm like, I kind of want to go back to like 2019, because like I was training for the fire service, and I was just doing challenges because I wanted to challenge myself.
Yeah. And
I wouldn't post about them. Or like I might do a post afterwards where I was like, oh, here's some clips from a thing I did. But like, I want to go back to that and just not have all of that pressure of like, oh yeah, look, I'm trying to raise this much money, and I'm trying to like promote my business, and I'm trying to share these stories. I'm like, can I just like...
But nobody looks or looks at that or receives it badly. Like, we all love seeing it. But I get like, it feels like that. I work in marketing as well, and I think that's another part of it. Like, I work in marketing and communication, so a lot of what I do for my job is that. So by the end of the day, I'm exhausted. I'm like, I can't be asked to like now promote myself. Not that it is just that, but yeah, like I just, I'm sort of, oh, well, I've been on social media today for work. Like, I can't be asked to do it for personal reasons.
That's fair.
I am a bit like that. It's weird. Like, I have to communicate a lot for my job, But then actually outside of work, I'm not the best communicator. I need like quiet time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I suppose that's probably the introvert in me, but...
No, I can understand that. Like, as soon as I'm done with work, I'm just like, yeah, right, shut me away, please.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I'm in a very, like, people-orientated job. And everyone's like, all you do is spend time with people. And I'm like, I know, it's awful, isn't it? Sorry to anyone listening, that's my client. Like, you're not awful. I do really love you guys. But still.
Yeah. It kind of, I suppose, it uses up your social battery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Massively.
Yeah.
Before we finish, I will grab my phone and I'll get the questions up that people have sent in specifically for
God.
you.
I hope none of them are awful.
They're not. I can promise you that they're all good questions. I'm also awful with technology, and everyone wonders from the outside, they're like, "Oh, your podcast is really good," and then I'm like, "You should see the behind the scenes because it's thrown together. I have no idea what I'm doing. The amount of tech issues that I have is unreal."
Really?
Oh yeah, I've had podcasts.
I would have put you down as like a tech pro.
No, this is what I mean. Like, if you look at like Hannah's podcast, for example, she was out of focus the whole podcast. Like massively, and I had comments.
Hopefully
being
mine's
like,
out of focus.
this is why I have my screen on now, because then I'm like looking and I'm like, right, it's still recording and you're still in focus. Because I had a podcast recently where the camera cut out within like the first 45 minutes and it was a 2.5 hour podcast.
Oh no.
And it took me like an hour and a half to realise. So like mid podcast I'm like, yeah, keep talking, I'll be back in a second. I'm just on my computer being like, why is it stopped recording? And yeah, panicking massively. Okay. I've only really got 2 questions for you.
Okay.
One of them is a bit ridiculous.
That's fine. As long as it's like, well, we'll see what is it.
On a run,
Yeah.
would you prefer a bum hole that's always itching or a finger that always smells of poo?
Finger that always smells of poo, for sure. Finger that, because like I'm gonna stink of sweat and God knows what anyway, and like I can deal with that, but always having that itch, I can't. That would be so annoying. So annoying.
I wasn't expecting that question, to be honest. And then I've got one from Nathan. This is where my Instagrams get confusing. Mm-hmm. Finding out which account someone's messaged me on, because I try and keep all the podcast stuff to that.
Yep.
And then I've got but then where like Nathan in particular, in this instance, he's like got me on all my accounts now.
Yeah.
And then people just message my other ones, and then I'm like, I can't just keep it there. And then I've got WhatsApp as well, and oh my God, managing it all is hard. Right. Question from Nathan. If you could go back to like talk to your younger self, what is the biggest piece of advice that you'd give younger Nat starting off on this ultra adventure?
Wow.
I was gutted.
I didn't know he was capable of such a good question. No, that's not fair. That's a really good question. I mean, I think my advice would be to trust in the process, and to just go with my heart. That sounds a bit weird, but this is something that Nathan and I have spoken about before as well. I do think that ultra running is quite a selfish sport, particularly if you've got family, even just like with seeing friends and stuff. You know, if I'm training for Wildhorse and I'm doing back-to-back long runs, it doesn't leave a lot of time for other stuff, and it can feel incredibly selfish, but ultimately, and this is also going to sound selfish, you are number one, and your health and well-being is number one, like before anyone else's. Like, you know, when you think of family and friends, it sounds very cliche, but you can't expect them to love you unless you love yourself. That sounds really cliche, but it is true. So like, if you find a place that you are happy in, if it's out there on the trails, even if it's really hard work, but you get this real sense of belonging and happiness from it, just chase it, because ultimately that's going to give you much more sense of belonging and purpose than, I don't know, trying to please others or do what you might feel socially obligated to do. I should go and spend time with this person. Yeah, I'm not saying cut off all ties by any means. And of course, you do have to balance family life. That's a massive balance. I don't have kids. I used to, until very recently, have a horse. I'm by no means comparing a horse to a child, but it was extremely time consuming. And I couldn't just leave her. Like, I had to balance that with my training. But I think that when I first started out running or getting into ultras, I was always a bit like, but I should go and see so-and-so, or I should be at home for this, or I should... But then you end up sacrificing part of yourself, I think. And yes, you do need to get balance. There is that you can do too much of it. But I think if you find something that genuinely makes you come alive, and that for me, like I said, makes me feel strong, because until I found ultra running, I felt anything but strong. And I mean, like, emotionally strong or strong in myself. I would be the person that I'd shy away. I hated meeting new people. I typically bullied at school, like that kind of thing, just because I was so, like, had no self-confidence. I think if you find something that gives you that, just go for it. It doesn't matter if you're not the best at it. If you get that from it, keep doing it, because you are ultimately number one, and it is pretty selfish. But if you're not happy in yourself, what's the purpose in anything else?
Yeah.
Ultimately.
I think that is some cracking advice right there. So
it's taken me quite a long time to find it. Everyone always thinks I'm so much younger than I am. I'm 35, and I'd say I've only just about discovered that and found any sort of, like, inner peace with who I am. Yeah, so I think, if you find that in something, whether it's ultra running or something else, just go for it. Amazing. Try not to piss too many people off in the process. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate your time.
Me.
It's all right. And I really look forward to whichever silly thing you sign up for next.
I'm suddenly going to have, like, list of FKTs or something come through, aren't I, that I'm going to need to try.
Yeah. And then probably a list of races as well, because you're like, I want to try this, but, like, I'm open to ideas. So, spammer.
Oh, God.
No, don't actually. That's my disclaimer. If you do get tons of messages, it's not my fault.
And if I do take ages to come back to them, it's not because I'm ignoring you, it's just because I'm literally not very present on social media. Well, I'm not. It's not that I don't use it, I obviously do, but I'm not as present as some people.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken me 6 weeks to get you on since Wildhorse.
I was like, oh shit, I am notoriously bad at replying, though. Anyone will tell you that, including Nathan. He's like, we running tomorrow? I've not heard from you.
Cool. Well, thanks again. What a amazing episode. I know I say it all the time, but I really do love doing this stuff. It was great sitting down and chatting with Nat. I will add the links to her Instagram and everything below. Like she says, though, she mostly just posts about her dogs. But it's always good to follow along and see what she's up to. She's an absolutely incredible runner and so humble, and just does it because she loves doing it. And maybe that's enough to be good at these things. It's just finding the thing that you love doing, and you just do it consistently. Shouldn't really be saying that as a coach that sells training plans, but I'll go into that now. If you are looking for a training plan to help you, whether you want in-person or online coaching, head over to adventureathletes.co.uk, where you can find out a bit more about our services. If you're looking for sports massage to help with your recovery, you can head over to the website as well. And also, we've got a few outdoor activity days like the Abergavenny 3 Peaks and the National 3 Peaks coming up. So if you want to book onto one of our courses, again, head over to the website and you can find all of that information on there. Thanks for listening, guys, and I'll catch you next week.